In the vast darkness of space, a small ship drifted slowly, barely noticeable among the stars. The ship belonged to the Vesari, a peaceful alien race known for their curiosity and respect for life. They had never met another intelligent species before, but their instruments had detected a strange signal coming from a small blue planet far away. The signal was faint, like a quiet whisper lost in the noise of the universe. It was different from anything the Vesari had ever heard, it repeated. In a pattern, steady and calm, the Vesari scientists spent many cycles studying the signal, trying to understand its meaning. They thought it might be a call for help or greeting. Kale, the lead scientist aboard the ship, stood before the glowing screen that showed the pattern of the signal. His eyes reflected the blue light as he traced the shapes. This signal is not random, he said softly. It is made by someone who wants to be heard. His assistant, Mira, nodded. It is from the planet they call Earth. It is water, life, and something new intelligence. The Vesari had studied many planets before. Some were lifeless rocks. Others had strange plants or animals, but none had signs of technology or messages. Sent into space, this planet was different. The signal came from the surface, where the creatures lived. We should send a drone to investigate, Kale said. We must see who is sending this signal and what they want. The captain of the ship, a calm and wise being named Terran, agreed. Prepare the drone. We will travel quietly and observe. We do not want to frighten them. The crew worked carefully. The drone was small but fast. It would fly through the planet's atmosphere and send back images and data. Everyone waited with a mix of hope and nervousness as the drone descended toward Earth. It passed through clouds and over vast oceans below. The planet looked alive with color and motion. Forests stretched like green blankets, rivers glittered like silver threads, and cities shone with tiny lights. The drone's cameras showed buildings made of glass and metal. Strange machines moved on the ground, and creatures walked upright on two legs. The Vesari called them humans. The drone listened to sounds, voices speaking in many languages, music playing, and engines humming. Kale watched the images with wonder. They are advanced, he said. Their signal is a call for friendship, I believe. But not all aboard the Vesari ship felt the same way. A guard named Lyra was uneasy. We do not know if they are friendly. They might be dangerous. Terran smiled kindly. Fear is natural, but we must not judge before we learn. Our mission is to understand, not to fight. After days of watching, the drone found the source of the signal. It came from a small city near a large body of water. The signal came from a tall tower with blinking lights on top. Inside, humans worked with machines that sent messages into space. The drone sent back a message to the Vesari ship. This is where we should make contact, Kale said. It is the best place for a meeting. Terran nodded. We will announce our presence gently. Let them see we mean no harm. The Vesari ship moved closer to Earth, but still stayed far enough to avoid causing alarm. The humans below looked up and saw a strange object in the sky. It was unlike any aircraft they had built. News spread quickly, and governments prepared for the unknown. Some humans felt excitement, dreaming of new friends and new worlds. Others felt fear, worried about what these aliens might want. The world was divided, but one thing was clear. First, contact was coming. On the Vesari ship, Kale and Mira prepared a message to send to Earth. It was simple and clear. We come in peace. We wish to learn and share. They waited for a response. The strange ship stayed just outside Earth's atmosphere. It was larger than any human spacecraft, but it moved with a slow, calm grace. People all over the world watched the skies. News channels showed live pictures of the glowing vessel floating silently against the dark backdrop of space. In the city near the signal tower, a young scientist named Nira watched the ship with wide eyes. She worked at the center that had sent the original signal to space for years. She had hoped for a reply, but she never expected it to come so soon or to be so real. Her colleagues crowded around her as the world's leaders prepared for the Vesari's arrival. Everyone wondered if the aliens were friends or enemies. Many feared the unknown. The military put ships on alert, and scientists worked quickly to understand the visitors. Nira felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She knew that how humans behaved now would change their future forever. She hoped the Vesari would see the best in humanity. On the Vesari ship, Captain Terran looked down at Earth. The planet was beautiful. It was full of life and energy. The Vesari did not want to scare the humans. They decided to approach slowly, making clear their peaceful intentions. "Prepare the communication system," Terran said. "We will send a message before we get closer." Kale and Mira worked quickly. They sent a new message to Earth. It said simply, "We come as friends. We wish to learn about you." On Earth, Nira and her team received the message. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before. The message was clear and kind. For a moment, fear turned into hope. Leaders from many countries agreed to send a peaceful response. They welcomed the Vesari and invited them to meet. The world held its breath. The Vesari ship moved closer to Earth. It entered the upper atmosphere. Slowly, careful not to cause harm. The ship's surface shimmered with soft light. People watched as the ship hovered above the city where the signal had begun. The Vesari sent down a small landing craft. It moved smoothly through the air, shining like a star as it came down to the ground. A crowd gathered to watch. Nira stood at the edge of the crowd, her heart pounding. The landing craft touched down gently on a large open field near the city. The door opened, and the Vesari stepped out. They looked very different from humans. Their skin was smooth and pale, with eyes that shone softly in the light. Their movements were calm and slow, showing respect and peace. The Vesari captain, Terran, stepped forward. He spoke slowly, using the translator device that made his words clear to everyone. "We come with open hands and open hearts. We wish to learn and share." People in the crowd looked at each other. Some smiled. Others were still unsure. Nira took a step forward. She wanted to show that not all humans were afraid. A human diplomat named Yano approached the Vesari. He spoke carefully. "Welcome to Earth. We are honored to meet you. We hope this is the beginning of a great friendship." Terran nodded. "We hope so as well." The meeting was peaceful. Scientists and diplomats asked many questions. The Vesari told stories about their home world, about their love for knowledge and life. Nira watched as the Vesari shared images of their cities, their nature, and their families. She felt a deep hope growing inside her. Maybe humans could learn to live with others in the universe. But not everyone was happy. In secret rooms far away from the public, some leaders whispered about danger. They worried about the power the Vesari might have. They did not trust the aliens, no matter their words. In a hidden base underground, human commanders watched the Vesari ship on their screens. They activated a secret alarm. A massive ship, long hidden from the world, was ready to wake. This ship was a Dreadnought, built years ago to protect humanity from any threat. It was a giant warship with powerful weapons. The commanders were ready to send it into space if needed. For now, the Dreadnought stayed silent. The world outside saw peace. But behind the scenes, fear and doubt grew. Back at the meeting site, Nira noticed the tension in the air. She wanted to believe in peace. She hoped the Dreadnought would never be used out as the sun set. The Vesari prepared to leave for their ship. They promised to return and continue talks. The humans watched the aliens rise slowly into the sky. The Vesari ship moved back to orbit, shining softly like a guardian in the night. The world looked up and dreamed of a future where humans were not alone. But deep inside, in the secret base, the Dreadnought waited. The first contact was peaceful for now, but what would happen next was still unknown. While the world watched the sky and celebrated the peaceful arrival of the Vesari, deep beneath the surface of Earth, a secret was stirring, hidden far below the ground. In a vast underground base, a giant warship waited quietly. This ship was the Dreadnought. It was built years ago when humanity was unsure about what dangers might come from space. The Dreadnought was a symbol of strength and fear, powerful enough to protect Earth from any threat. Commander Rao stood in the control room of the secret base. He was a tall man with a serious face and sharp eyes. He had been in charge of the Dreadnought for many years, trained to respond quickly to any sign of danger. Now, he watched the strange Vesari ship moving near Earth. His heart beat faster. "They say the aliens come in peace," Raoul said to his assistant, Mira. "But how? Can we be sure? What if this is a trick?" Mira shook her head. "We do not know their true plans. But if they come with kindness, why should we attack?" Raoul's voice was firm. "We must be ready. The Dreadnought is our shield. We cannot let the world be unprepared." On the surface, the world was hopeful. The Vesari had spoken softly and with respect. They shared stories and pictures of their peaceful lives. But Commander Raoul and his team saw danger in every movement. They believed that showing weakness could lead to disaster. Inside the base, machines hummed and lights blinked as the Dreadnought powered up. The ship was huge, longer than any city block. With thick armor and weapons that could destroy planets, the crew trained day and night, ready for a battle that had not come. Raoul looked at the screen showing the Vesari ship. "They are in orbit now. We must decide our next move carefully. I will not let Earth be caught off guard." In the control room, an advisor named Leela warned, "If we attack, it could start a war no one wants. The Vesari are not attacking. They came to talk." Raoul frowned. "Peace is a choice, but so is defense. The Dreadnought is our answer if talks fail." Meanwhile, on the Vesari ship, Captain Terran sensed the tension. His crew studied the signals coming from Earth. They detected secret transmissions in the awakening of the Dreadnought. The Vesari were concerned but hoped humanity would choose trust over fear. Back on Earth, Nira, the young scientist, was unaware of the Dreadnought. She focused on preparing for the next meeting with the Vesari. She dreamed of a future where humans and aliens shared knowledge and peace. One evening, as the sun set, Nira received a message from the government. It asked her to come to a special meeting. When she arrived, she found diplomats, military officers, and scientists together. The room was filled with serious faces. The lead diplomat spoke carefully. "There is a secret we must share. Earth has a warship hidden underground. It was built to protect us in case of danger. Now, with the Vesari here, we must decide what to do." Nira's heart raced. "But the Vesari want peace. Why hide a warship from them?" The diplomat nodded. "Because some leaders fear them. And known. They think the Dreadnought is necessary." Mira, the assistant to Commander Raoul, entered the room. "We must prepare for all possibilities. The Dreadnought is ready to move if needed." Nira looked around. "I believe we should trust the Vesari. We cannot let fear control our future." The meeting ended without agreement. The world outside hoped for peace, but inside, divisions grew. Some wanted to reach out with open hands. Others wanted to keep weapons ready, just in case. The next day, the Dreadnought began moving from its hidden base. It rose slowly through tunnels and shafts, moving closer to the surface. The massive ship broke through the earth and floated into the sky. On the ground, people looked up in surprise. Few knew the ship existed. The governments kept it a secret, fearing panic. Commander Raoul stood on the bridge of the Dreadnought. He saw the Vesari ship in the distance. His voice was steady. "We show strength, but not aggression. We must protect Earth and show the aliens that we are not weak." Terran, the Vesari captain, noticed the Dreadnought's approach. He sent a message to Earth. "We come with peaceful hearts. Please do not make this a time of fear." On Earth, Nira watched the messages coming in. She felt hope and worry together. The first contact that had started with a quiet signal was turning into something much bigger. The world waited, holding its breath, as two ships, one of peace and one of power, moved closer. What would happen next could change the future of humanity forever. The giant Dreadnought hovered above Earth like a sleeping giant now awakened. It had been hidden beneath the surface for many years, but now it moved with purpose. Commander Raoul stood tall on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the distant Vesari ship. The quiet signal that started this story had led to this moment. A clash of worlds about to begin or be avoided. Raoul spoke calmly, but with strength. "We move forward carefully. This is not a declaration of war, but a warning. We show the universe that Earth is ready to defend itself." His crew worked quickly. The Dreadnought's massive engines powered up, lighting the sky below like a great fire. The ship's weapon systems hummed softly, ready for action but unused. The captain did not want violence, but he was prepared to protect humanity at all costs. On the Vesari ship, Captain Terran watched the Dreadnought's approach with concern. He turned to his crew. They have a weapon of great power. We must remain calm and peaceful. Show them we mean no harm. Kale, the Vesari scientist, nodded. We will do all we can to communicate. Violence is not the answer. Back on Earth, Nira followed the news with growing fear. She knew about the Dreadnought. Now, she worried that the ship's movement could make the Vesari think humans were hostile. She reached out to her contacts in the government, urging calm. But many leaders disagreed. They saw the Dreadnought as a necessary force. They believed that strength would bring respect and keep humans safe. As the Dreadnought moved closer to the Vesari ship, the tension in the sky grew. The two ships faced each other, one huge and armed, the other calm and curious. On Earth, people watched the unfolding. Some prayed for peace, others feared the worst. News reports showed experts discussing the possibility of a battle that could change the future of life on the planet. The Vesari sent messages again. We come in peace. Please do not threaten us. Ral answered with a message of his own. We respect your message, but we must be ready to protect Earth. The two sides tried to talk, but words were not enough. The Dreadnought's powerful presence was a silent threat. The Vesari lowered some shields but stayed alert. Inside the Dreadnought, the crew trained for any sign of aggression. Ral gave orders to keep weapons ready but to hold fire. We defend only if we must. We do not start war. Meanwhile, Nira worked with diplomats and scientists to find a way to stop the rising tension. She suggested a new communication channel, one that would allow real-time talking, not just messages, with help from both humans and Vesari. The channel was set up. It was the first true connection between the two species, open and direct. Nira joined the call, her voice calm but hopeful. We do not want to fight. We want to understand you and learn from each other. Terran's voice came back, warm and steady. We also want peace. Our world is known war, and we seek a better future. For a moment, the tension in the sky seemed to ease. The Dreadnought remained close, but the weapons stayed silent. But not everyone was ready to trust. On Earth, some leaders pushed for a stronger show of force. They warned that the Vesari might be hiding danger. Nira argued, trust must come first. If we show fear, we may lose what we can gain. The world was divided. The future hung on the edge of a blade. As night fell, the two ships drifted silently above Earth. The Dreadnought's powerful lights shone like a warning beacon. The Vesari's soft glow was a sign of hope. Commander Ral looked at the stars and wondered, could two very different species find peace? Or would fear and power lead to a battle that no one wanted? The answer was still unknown. But in that moment, both ships waited, holding onto hope, ready to act, and watching each other across the vastness of space. The two ships hung in space, not far from each other, like two giant eyes watching and waiting. The Dreadnought, heavy and armed, cast a large shadow over Earth below. The Vesari ship, smaller but glowing with calm light, remained steady and quiet. Both crews held their breath, unsure of what would happen next. On the Dreadnought's bridge, Commander Ral paced slowly. His face was serious, filled with the weight of responsibility. He was not eager for war, but he was ready to defend humanity if needed. Ral spoke to his officers. We must show strength, but not start a fight. Any wrong move could lead to disaster. His second-in-command, Mira, nodded. Our weapons are ready, but I believe we should try to talk more. Violence will only make things worse, Ral agreed. Prepare the communication channels. I want clear and constant contact with the Vesari. Meanwhile, on the Vesari ship, Captain Terran was calm but alert. His crew was trained for peaceful contact but ready to protect themselves if attacked. We must remain patient, Terran said softly. These humans have fear inside them. We must prove we come in peace. Kale, the scientist, added. They are strong and proud. They have many secrets, but they also have hope. The communication channels opened, and voices from both ships filled the silent space between them. The messages were careful and polite. Neither side wanted to appear weak, but neither wanted to start a war. On Earth, the tension was felt everywhere. People watched the news with worry. Families sat together, hoping for good news. Leaders met behind closed doors, trying to find a way to stop the standoff. Nira, the young scientist, was part of a team working to help both sides understand each other better. She knew that fear was the enemy. We must find common ground. She told her colleagues, if we fail, the cost will be great. The Vesari shared images of their world, showing beautiful forests, clean rivers, and peaceful cities. They told stories of their culture, their music, and their dreams. In response, Earth sent pictures of its own, mountains, oceans, and fields filled with life, humans working, playing, and building a better future. Despite the peaceful exchange, the Dreadnought remained ready. Its powerful weapons systems hummed quietly, waiting for orders that no one wanted to give. Suddenly, a warning light flashed on the Dreadnought's control panel. Sensors detected a small vessel approaching from the Vesari ship. Raoul frowned. What is their intention? Terran's message came quickly. We send an envoy to show trust. They carry no weapons. We want to meet face to face. Raoul considered the offer. It was risky. Allowing the Vesari close to the Dreadnought could be dangerous, but refusing might make the aliens think humans were hostile. After a moment, he gave the order. Prepare a meeting. We will receive the envoy. On Earth, news of the planned meeting spread quickly. Many people were hopeful. Others feared it was a trick. The two ships moved closer. The envoy craft left the Vesari ship and approached the Dreadnought slowly. It was small and sleek, shining softly in the light of Earth. Inside the Dreadnought, Nira and a group of diplomats waited to greet the Vesari. The room was quiet, filled with a mix of hope and fear. The Vesari envoy stepped out. They were calm and respectful. Their eyes showed kindness and a desire to understand. The meeting began. Both sides spoke honestly. They shared their fears and hopes. The Vesari explained their peaceful intentions. The humans talked about their need to protect their home. For ours, the talks continued, slowly. The tension in the room eased. Both sides realized that they wanted the same thing, safety and friendship. But the world outside was still divided. Some leaders still wanted to prepare for war. They believed that peace was only possible if Earth showed strength. Nira argued, peace is not weakness, it is courage. We must believe in a better future. The envoy meeting ended with a promise to continue talks. Both ships moved back to their original positions. The Dreadnought remained near Earth, ready but patient. That night, as Earth turned under the stars, people everywhere hoped that the tense standoff would soon end, that humanity and the Vesari would find a way to live together. Commander Raoul looked at the stars from the Dreadnought's bridge. He whispered to himself, "May wisdom guide us all." Captain Terran stood on his ship's deck, watching Earth's blue oceans and green lands. He thought, perhaps this is the moment when two worlds can become friends. The future was still uncertain, but the first steps toward peace had been taken. Both ships waited in silence, ready for what came next. The uneasy peace between the two ships lasted for a few days. Both the Dreadnought and the Vesari ship remained near Earth, quietly watching and waiting. The talks had brought hope, but the tension never fully disappeared. On Earth, people began to dream of a future where humans and the Vesari could live as friends. Yet, deep inside the hidden base beneath the surface, some voices still whispered warnings. Commander Raoul sat in his private office aboard the Dreadnought. The walls were covered with screens showing reports and messages from both Earth and the Vesari ship. His face was thoughtful, but his eyes showed concern. The peace was fragile, and he knew that one small mistake could bring disaster. Suddenly, a new message arrived on his screen. It was not from the Vesari. It was from a distant space probe, sent long ago by humans to explore the outer reaches of the galaxy. The probe had detected an unknown signal heading toward Earth. The signal was strong and moving fast. Raoul called his officers immediately. What is this signal? Where is it coming from? One of the officers answered, "We do not know exactly. Sir, the signal is unlike anything we have seen. It carries a warning." Ralph frowned deeply. A warning for whom? The message was unclear, but urgent. It spoke of a powerful force in space, a force that destroyed everything in its path. The signal urged Earth and the Vesari to be careful and to prepare for danger. On the Vesari ship, Captain Terran received the same message. He gathered his council. "This warning changes everything. We must tell the humans." Terran sent a message to Commander Rao. "We share this warning. Together. We must prepare." Rao was surprised. The Vesari's honesty showed their true intentions. He realized that the peace between them was real. "We will meet to discuss this threat." He replied. Nero was called to join the emergency meeting on Earth. Scientists, military leaders, and diplomats gathered in a large room. The mood was serious, intense. The message from space was played for everyone. The voice was calm but firm. It warned of a dark force called the Void Reapers, a group of unknown beings that destroyed planets and star systems. They had not yet reached Earth's part of the galaxy, but they were coming. Nero listened carefully. She felt fear, but also determination. "We cannot ignore this. The Vesari warned us because they want to help. This means we must work together," Rao agreed. The Dreadnought was built to defend Earth. Now, it may be needed to defend all of us. The leaders decided to send a joint team to the Vesari ship. They would share knowledge and prepare for the danger ahead. Nero was chosen to join the team because of her understanding of both humans and the Vesari. As the team prepared to leave, Rao said to Nera, "This is bigger than any one species. We must trust each other if we want to survive." Nera nodded. "I believe we can." The joint team traveled to the Vesari ship. When they arrived, they were welcomed warmly. The Vesari shared their advanced technology and plans for defense. Captain Terran showed Nera the ship's control room. "We have sensors that can detect the Void Reapers far away. We have weapons that can protect us, but we need your help." Nera studied the technology. She realized that humans and Vesari together could be stronger than either alone. "We must share everything, science, tactics, and courage." For days, the two teams worked side by side. They built new plans, shared ideas, and prepared for battle. But even as they worked, fear remained. The Void Reapers were unknown and powerful. No one knew if they could be stopped. One night, Nera stood on the observation deck of the Vesari ship. She looked down at Earth, shining in the darkness. Captain Terran joined her. "This is our home now, too," he said softly. "We will protect it together." Nera smiled. "Together, we are stronger." Below them, the Dreadnought waited in orbit, a symbol of Earth's strength, and hoped out far away in the darkness of space. The signal from the Void Reapers grew closer. The warning had arrived, but so had a new alliance. The fate of Earth and the Vesari now rested in their hands. The dark shadow of the Void Reapers moved closer every day. The warning from the distant probe was no longer a distant voice. It was a clear call to action. On Earth and aboard the Vesari ship, the people prepared for a challenge that no one had ever faced before. Commander Rao stood on the bridge of the Dreadnought. The huge ship was ready for battle. Its weapons were powered, its shields strong. Yet Rao's heart was heavy. He knew this fight was about more than just weapons. It was about trust, hope, and survival. "We stand at the edge of a great darkness," he said to his crew. "But we are not alone. Together with the Vesari, we will face this threat and protect our home." On the Vesari ship, Captain Terran met with his council. "The humans have strength and courage. Our technology is advanced, but our true power is in unity." Terran turned to Nera, who had become an important part of the alliance. "Your work has brought us closer. Together, we can find solutions no one could alone." Nera smiled softly. "It is our hope that gives us strength." As the Void Reapers approached, the joint fleet of humans and Vesari moved into position near Earth. The Dreadnought led the way. With the Vesari ships surrounding it, the sky above the planet was filled with light and energy, a shield of courage against the coming storm. The first battle came without warning. The Void Reapers appeared like shadows, dark ships moving fast and silent. They attacked with powerful weapons designed to break through any shield. Ral gave the order. Hold your ground. Protect Earth. The Dreadnought's weapons fired back. Bright beams of energy cut through the darkness. The Visari ships used their advanced technology to confuse and slow the enemy. The battle was fierce, explosions lit up space, and both sides fought with all their strength. Yet the Void Reapers seemed endless, their numbers great and their power strong. In the midst of the chaos, Nero worked with scientists and engineers. They analyzed the Void Reapers' weapons and shields. Slowly, they found weaknesses there. Nero shouted, "Their shields react to certain frequencies. If we can focus our attacks on those, we can break through." Captain Terran listened carefully. "Prepare the fleet. We will attack together." The humans and Vesari coordinated there. "Fire!" The Dreadnought led the charge, firing powerful beams while Vesari's ships created distractions. One by one, the Void Reaper ships were destroyed or forced to retreat. The tide of battle slowly turned. After hours of fighting, the enemy began to pull back. The fleet held strong. Ral breathed deeply. "We have won this day. But the war is not over." Captain Terran nodded. "They will return. We must be ready on Earth." People watched the battle in awe and fear, but they also saw hope. The unity of two very different species had made a difference. Nera knew that the victory was just the beginning. She worked harder, helping to improve defenses and build stronger bonds between humans and Vesari. Days passed. The Void Reapers retreated into the darkness, but the joint fleet remained alert. The Dreadnought and the Vesari ships stayed near Earth, a symbol of strength and friendship. One evening, as stars twinkled in the quiet sky, Commander Ral and Captain Terran met on the Vesari ship. They spoke not as leaders of different worlds, but as allies. "Thank you," Terran said simply. "Without your courage, Earth would be lost." Ral smiled. "And without your trust, we would never have stood together." Nera joined them, feeling the weight of the journey behind them and the hope ahead. Together, they looked toward the stars, knowing that whatever challenges came next, they would face them united. The story of First Contact had changed from fear and panic to a powerful alliance. Humanity and the Vesari had found peace through courage and trust. The Dreadnought, once a symbol of dread, had become a symbol of hope. And as the stars shone bright above, the future of two worlds was finally secure.